Hi again, welcome to the third episode of Prasidee Podcast, and this is the last of our series with Mr. Manoj Tandon. In this final episode, we will learn how to overcome our initial fear of failure and depression if things don't work out our way. And some golden final piece of advice for all of you rockstar entrepreneurs out there. A quick FYI, watch episodes 1 and 2 to know more about Manoj's journey. Some people keep waiting for the right time to start their entrepreneurial journey. Do you think this right time has to be created by the person himself?
Very good question. Especially for someone like me who started the entrepreneurial journey at the age of 53. Entrepreneurship, here's what I've realized, is all about passion, is all about drive, is all about that inner desire to do something, to make a difference for oneself and for others. Therefore, the simple answer is that there is no good or bad time. You have to be ready. When you think you are ready, okay? But I'll give you some reasons because of which are some what should I say, what's the right word for it? The reasons for which you should not start your entrepreneurial journey, because I have seen them failing very often, especially because I also mentor, I'm one of the mentors for NASSCOM 10,000 startups. So I meet a lot of startups through them. And I've realized, and I tell them as well, that don't go into a startup because these days everybody is doing it. So, my friend is doing it, my cousin's friend is doing it. I know that one who's doing it. He got funding of X crores, so मैं भी करता हूँ. That does not work. You do not do this because somebody else is doing it. That's one very clear reason. Second, a lot of people have got this feeling that anything that can be enabled by technology can be a business. In other words, very weak business models are coming up these days. Some people, what they're saying is, see, whatever is happening, I'll digitize it. I'll create a website. I'll create a mobile app out of it, and that's it. And that would kind of work. No, it won't. There has to be a real felt need and a long-term problem of the customer, of the market, for any such startup venture to succeed. So if you are just thinking that you will take up something, digitize it, and think that it will work because everybody is doing it, it's not going to work. That is definitely a reason why you should not do a startup, neither now nor later. Okay. Third reason why, again, I have observed that a lot of people are doing it, but please be very careful, which is very weak business model. So what that means is that there are many companies, and I don't want to take names here, but they're very prevalent in e-commerce space. I would just say that much, where something takes 100 rupees to produce and deliver, and you sell at 80 rupees in the so-called discounted sales model. The remaining 20 rupees comes from the investor's money, and it is assumed that at some level, somewhere, the things will go into successful, into a profitable thing. Now, how long will the investor money last? So you go through with the seed money, then you take the next round, Series A, then you take Series B. Every investor gets some higher valuation, but even then, companies are losing money. Now, you do it that way, it's a sure recipe for failure. Someday or the other, the money, because money doesn't grow on trees, so someday or the other, it will come back to bite, and the company will not work. The pure and simplest model of business always was, if you make something in 100 rupees, sell in 100 plus. And that is the way to make money. So if you can use technology, if you can use your brains, if you can use anything to reduce the cost of from 100 to 95 and sell at 100, you'll not only beat the competition, but you'll also make money. And that is the way of the future for startups. And that is the way you succeed. It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter, what's your background. But what does matter is that you need to have your concepts of doing a business correct in your head. And you need to have very strong passion for it.
That is a very sane advice. That's correct. So, what do you say? How should one prepare himself or herself, for this whole process?
Okay. So the biggest concern I have seen in that's my experience, is that people, the thing that prevents them from actually going this way is that fear of failure. यार मेरी अच्छी खासी I have a job, I am paid X amount of money. What if I go in that direction and my company fails? Now what should I do? That stops even some of the best of the people in going into this direction. And that I think when you say prepare, I think overcoming and managing that fear of failure and making sure that once the ducks get lined up is very important. So you do it in two ways. One is on the financial side, like I said, understand what are your expenses, get down to numbers, brass tacks. So if you are a youngster, maybe your expenses are less. If you are a bachelor, probably even less. I know bachelors who decided to move into one flat because they could share the rental and many other expenses. Create your expense sheet. Figure out how much will you need in next 12 months to survive. Add another 10-20% for contingency, and you're financially all right. Keep that money somewhere. Take it from your parents. Take it from your savings. Keep it aside and say, this is my survival money, and that's it. So after till next 12 months, I will not bother about the financial part. Then comes the other part, which is what if I fail? The good news is when I was a youngster, when I was in 20 something, if I tried something, it failed, it would kind of became a blot on my career. And employers who used to think, not so anymore. Both government and private sector are actually quite positive about people who show entrepreneurial spirit. The fact that you tried, and you tried in a very sane manner, in a very in a logical manner, and you tried hard, but still you failed, it's okay. In fact, every company, even large companies these days, want people who have entrepreneurial spirit in them, because even for their growth, they need such people who can actually passionately do something for them and not just be a tick box as an employee. So don't be scared of the fact that you work for 5 years, you are going on your own. 2 years later, suppose you fail, yes, there will be job for you.
That's great. So you just talked about the initial fear of failure. So when I talk about you, how did you deal with this initial fear of failure?
The first thing I did was the financial planning, like I told you. Second is in my case, so on the financial side, I had my nest egg already in place. Now that's the advantage of being old. So having worked for 30 plus years, I had some nest egg already there in place. Third was that in addition to being an entrepreneur, like I said, I do many other things as well. So I teach in academic institutions. I write. So I always had alternate, small but alternate sources of income. Fourth was that I just somewhere at some level, Asta, you just need to say, listen, I'm going to fight, and I'll take care of the consequences, irrespective of what they are. And I don't know why, and somehow maybe it's my family support or whatever. I had that confidence that I can do it. So I was not at all interested in spending the rest of my working life pleasing the whims and fancies of others. Okay. So I just said, let me do it. That kind of stuff.
That's great. So Manoj, what happens is at times people give their heart and soul to their startup, and yet things don't work out as they want them to be, and then these people go into deep depression. So what is the key to deal with this emotional setback?
Excellent question. Especially given the fact that more than half the startups don't succeed, uh, which means more than half of the population, which is today as we speak, the young Indians who are going in this direction, their companies, at least in the first instance, may not succeed. So very, very relevant and good question. First thing, it is not that individual's failure. You have not failed as an individual, as a human being, as a professional. What has happened is that you had an idea which you tried to execute, and somewhere in the process, and you had a market that you were planning to cater to. Either in your idea, or in your strategy, or in your execution, or in the market, something changed or did not happen. Because of it, your project, which you thought will succeed and you gave your life and blood during that period, did not succeed. And that's okay. It can happen in any field of life. It is not your failure as a human being, as an individual. It is not a commentary on your capability or your intelligence. you have two options. Get up, dust your clothes, in a very rational manner, go back and look with a fine tooth comb what happened and why you did not succeed. Find the reason, plug those gaps, and go on again and start again. Or, if you want, you take up a job, gain your confidence back, get back to the regular routine, get your regular salaries in, fill up the money, this thing that you may have lost during this time when you were doing this startup. And after that, again, it's your choice. You can carry on with your job, or you can jump into running a startup all over again. Entirely the person's choice. But at no stage get depressed. Depression actually is an indicator that somebody took it personally. So there are many things we do in life. Not everything succeeds. Some things are small, some things are big. It's the same thing, and it doesn't make us any less people or any less professional. Just take it in that spirit, and go on, move on.
All right, this was actually a very important answer for us. And now, this last question is from our Facebook audience. If someone has prepared their business plan and funding is required for the development of the product, what should that person do next?
Get some business cycles going. Like I said earlier, there was a time when you could have all those things and go to an investor and get some seed funding at least. Nowadays, investors have become a little wary because of the failure that have happened in the past, and people want to kind of hedge their risk some more. So they do want to see some business cycle. So think about how you can do that. Maybe you can't run the entire idea in one shot. Maybe you can do a part of it, but at least show something happening. Show that money can come in. Show that there is a market for it. Show that there are real customers for it, not something which you think there are. And then go to an investor. If you everything is good, you probably will you will get a funder definitely for sure.
So maybe we can say that one should build up MVP, minimum viable product, and
Something like that. Yes, yeah, something like that. That's
Alright.
correct.
So this brings me to my last question. What if a person with a non-technical background wishes to build a technical startup? How should he go about it?
All right. So there are two steps to it. One is if you are a non-technical person and you want to do a technical startup, you got to be sure that because you are not an expert in that subject area, that startup, a technical startup, does have all the elements in it for it to succeed. Being a non-technical person, you may be swayed by some ideas, some write-ups, some articles, some noise on the internet that this is what we should do. But remember that since you don't have the background, so maybe the right way would be ask around, check out, talk to 10 people. Make sure that idea does make sense financially, business-wise, and everything, and is doable. If that is possible, then you have to engage a CTO. You have to engage a person who you trust on, who you believe on, who know is good, and use his help, leverage him to to make sure that the technical part is taken care of. That's the way to do it. But being a non-technical person, just be very sure that you have assessed the idea, or you have enough knowledge through your friends, family, anywhere, or expertise to judge and to assess that idea actually is a good idea and is doable. So once that is taken care of, you can hire a CTO and engage a CTO and implement it.
All right, thank you so much for this advice. So, any final piece of advice for all the young entrepreneurs out there?
I would say follow your dreams, but follow them with your feet firmly planted on the ground. In other words, if you have a vision to do something, to go in some direction, you must do that. But remember that as you are achieving your dream, you will need some basics. If I have to use a cliche term, the roti kapda or makan part. So sustenance, as one would call it. So do it with your feet on the ground. And well, my best wishes. I hope whatever they want to achieve, they will succeed.
That is a very sane advice, and thank you so much for helping us out. And thank you so much for taking time out for this interview. I am sure it is going to help a lot of young entrepreneurs out there. Thank you very much, Manoj.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for being a part of Manoj's success journey and Prasidee Podcast. If you like this interaction and think it was helpful for you, please don't forget to share it with your friends. Also, hit the red subscribe button on YouTube to know more about such interviews. In our next episode, we will interview an amazing young entrepreneur, Pratik Doshi, founder and CEO of Cheeky Chunk, the famous umbrella man of India, who became a millionaire within 2 months of starting the operations. So stay tuned for us. Please find all the details of this interview in the description below and podcast show notes. If you liked it, please don't forget to hit the red subscribe button below, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. For latest updates, please follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.